Hello my friends and welcome to the 13th class in our writing course. Today's class, my friend, is going to be the last class into which we talk about complex sentences. Today we will finish talking about this topic. We will cover today the third and the last type of complex sentences, which are complex sentences with dependent clauses. But before I start talking about this type, allow me to give you a quick revision of the most important points we have talked about concerning the complex sentences. My friends, we started defining a complex sentence and we said that a complex sentence is a hybrid sentence because a complex sentence is made up of one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. And generally, my friends, because we have three types of dependent clauses, we have three types of complex sentences. And we covered the first type, which was complex sentences with dependent adverbial clauses. Then we talked about complex sentences with dependent adjective clauses. And today, my friends, we are going to cover the last type of complex sentences, which is called complex sentences with dependent noun clauses. Now, my friends, let's define a dependent noun clause. And here, my friends, as you see, a dependent noun clause is a group of words containing a verb and its subject, which is the original definition of a clause. And here, in addition, we have can function as subject, object, or a complement of a sentence to replace a noun phrase. So as you see here, my friends, the definition is a combination of the definition of a clause or a noun phrase. Again, we repeat it. A dependent noun clause is a group of words containing a verb and its subject together, which is the definition of a clause. In addition to the definition of noun phrase, can function as a subject, an object, or a complement of a sentence, just as a noun phrase. And here the third property, and can be introduced by a relative pronoun like who, when, where, which, that, or a conjunction like whether, how, etc. Or a conjunction like whether, how, whoever, etc. Now, my friends, before I start the practical part of this class, allow me to give you two important notices regarding two complex sentences with dependent noun clauses. The first one here says, as long as you can replace the noun clause with a noun phrase, we are using the clause correctly, which means if you always can use the dependent noun clause as a subject or an object or a complement correctly in the same structure of a noun phrase, you are using the dependent noun clause correctly. Otherwise, you are making a mistake. So try to switch between them because they can be used interchangeably. The second one here, we say we can always replace the noun clause with a pronoun he, she, it only, as we are going to see in the upcoming examples. Let's start talking about examples. As we said, my friends, as we know, my friends, a noun clause can function as a subject, an object, or a complement. Let's start giving examples for each situation here. In here, my friends, we start with the first example. Who told you about the picnic was lying to you. We stayed at home. Here I'm talking to my friends. My friends, for example, told me, you went to picnic yesterday and you didn't tell me. I tell him, who told you about the picnic was lying to you. We stayed at home. And here, my friends, you can see that who told you about the picnic is a dependent noun clause because it replaces the subject. For in here, as a subject, my friends, we can use a noun phrase like my friend. My friend was lying to you. We stayed at home. in here, my friend, as long as I can replace it with a noun phrase or with a pronoun like he or she or Sarah, for example. Sarah was lying to you, he was lying to you, she was lying to you. This means that we used this noun clause correctly. So teacher, why this is a noun phrase and this is a noun clause? This is a noun phrase, my friend, because it complies to the definition of a noun phrase. A noun phrase is one word or a group of words not containing a verb with its subject. And here we have a subject, we didn't have a verb, while a dependent clause or dependent noun clause is a group of words containing a verb and its subject together. We have you, the subject, and you have a verb who told you. So we have here a verb and its subject together, so that we call it a clause. Again, my friends, second example, that nobody wants to be my friend makes me sad. Again, we have here, so everything before the verb, look, everything before the verb is the subject, as we said, whether it is a noun phrase or a noun clause. And here, my friends, everything before the main verb of the sentence is the subject. In here, that nobody wants me or wants to be my friend makes me sad. In here, we can say, for example, no one, nobody. So this is a noun phrase. As long as we can replace the dependent noun clause with a noun phrase, this means that this noun clause is being used correctly and in its proper structure. And here, my friends, what is the difference between that nobody wants to be my friend and no one? And here, my friends, this is a noun clause because a clause is a group of words containing a verb and its subject. We have here a verb and we have its subject. And here, my friends, no one is a noun phrase because a noun phrase doesn't include a subject and its verb together. So as long as we can replace this clause with a pronoun, he makes me, or it, we can say it makes me sad. As long as we can replace this noun clause with one of these phrases or pronouns, it is being used properly. And now, my friends, we take the third example. What you see in this picture has been terrifying millions of people through history. For example, I could be showing a picture of, let's say, a legendary creature, and I'm showing it to my students. I tell them, what you see in this picture has been terrifying millions of people. And here, my friends, again, everything before the verb phrase is the subject, has been terrifying is the verb phrase. And here, this is a noun clause. Again, teacher, why is it a noun clause? It is a noun clause because, my friends, it contains a subject and a verb. Here, a verb, you see, subject and a verb together, while a noun phrase, for example, like the monster has been terrifying millions of people throughout history. And again, my friends, as long as these two words don't contain a verb and its subject together, those are one noun phrase. And in here, my friends, as long as I can replace this clause with this phrase to get a subject, this means that this clause is being used properly. Now, my friends, let's go through the second use of noun clause, which is to replace the object of a sentence. In here, my friends, the clause is going to be in the position of the object. You see, nobody knows what these pyramids are hiding. This is the first clause. Second clause here, nobody knows who built them. The second clause. Third clause, nobody knows whom they were built for. And again, my friends, when we use whom, generally we use a preposition at the end of the clause, as we have discussed in the previous class when we talked about dependent adjective clauses. And here, my friends, we discuss this sentence. We say nobody knows. Here, nobody is the subject of this sentence. Knows is the verb. Everything before the verb is the noun phrase, and everything before the verb phrase is the subject. And generally, if the verb is transitive, everything after the verb is going to be the object. And here, my friends, nobody knows what these pyramids are hiding. Or for example, we can say nobody knows the pyramids. So as long as we can replace this clause, which contains a subject and its verb together, with a noun phrase, we are using it correctly. And here, nobody knows who built them. Nobody knows, for example, him or them. Let's say them for plural. Or nobody knows whom they were built for. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows a noun, for example, Ahmed. Nobody knows Jackie. Nobody knows Sarah. Nobody knows Muhammad, and so on. So as long as we can replace each of these clauses with a noun phrase or a pronoun, this means that they are being used appropriately. Now, my friends, let's discuss the second example. I didn't understand why she left. Here, why she left. So I is the subject, didn't understand is the verb phrase. Why she left is the first noun clause, which function as an object. I didn't understand her, for example. I didn't understand Sarah. So as long as I'm using a noun or a noun phrase or a pronoun in its place, this means that it is being used properly. So I didn't understand why she left. Number two, I didn't understand where she went. Number three, I didn't understand whom she got angry with. Again, my friends, when we use whom, we have to use a preposition generally. This is the third noun phrase which function as an object. And here the fourth one, what happened? I didn't understand what happened. I didn't understand her. I didn't understand the situation, for example. I didn't understand how she could leave her family. And here, my friends, we can use more than one noun clause as an object for the same verb. And now, my friends, let's discuss the last use of dependent noun clauses into a complex sentence, which is to replace a complement of a sentence. And here, my friends, generally we use it after verb to be or after an intransitive verb. An intransitive verb, my friends, is a verb that doesn't require an object, as you all know. Here, the real story wasn't what you think. Here we have the main verb. Here is verb to be. The subject is here. This is not an object because this verb is not transitive. It doesn't require an object. So it is not an object. It's a complement of a sentence. So the real story wasn't what you think. Sorry, what you think. How the real story wasn't how you expected. Three, the real story wasn't where they said. So, my friends, in here I have three noun clauses functioning as a complement of a sentence. Again, my friends, we can use one dependent noun clause as a complement or we can use more than one. This depends on our purpose of writing, and generally, my friends, knowing this point makes your writing better, because while writing an essay or a paragraph in IELTS, TOEFL, or even proficiency exams, writing such sentences makes your score higher. Also, it convinces the examiner that you master the language very well. And here, my friends, the last sentence, Sarah is not whom you dreamed of, is she? And here, my friends, this is the subject, Sarah is not. In here, the verb, the main verb, which is verb to be, and it is intransitive. It doesn't require an object. And here, whom you dreamt of, again, whom with a preposition, and this is a noun clause because it complies or it matches the definition of a clause. Well, that's it for today, my friends. I wanted to make a comparison between dependent adjective clauses and dependent noun clauses because a lot of students confuse them together. But as I noticed, the class has become a little bit long, so I will keep this topic till the next class. In the next class, we are going to differentiate between a dependent adjective clause and a dependent noun clause and how we use each one appropriately. Thanks for watching this video again, my friends. I know that the classes from 9 till 13 has become a little bit longer than the others, a little bit more difficult. But again, my friends, I would like to remind you that the topic these classes are talking about is a sensitive topic, and it needs you to concentrate and to replay these videos again and play some Kahoot games which are going to be related to our topics. Again, my friends, study harder to get better. Thank you and goodbye.